Hello everybody. I'm super excited because hello, they arrived, they arrived, they arrived, they arrived, they arrived. This is the Prisma Visions Tarot deck by James Eads, and I am so excited. I have literally just got it. I haven't opened the box yet, so we're going to open it together, and I'm so excited. So, very few tarot decks really speak to me, and the Lights Vision Tarot really did, but at the time I couldn't afford it, and it was from America. So with America, with ordering things, you risk, when you order in the UK, paying an extra £35 duty import fee. And I scraped together to be able to afford this particular one. This is the Prisma Visions, and it's the same design but in colour, which at first I was umming and ahhing about, but I now think I actually prefer it. And I didn't get charged the duty fee, so they actually put a value of £15 on the box, which means I don't get charged, so I was super happy. Super happy. Okay, so the box I love. First and foremost, I friggin' love the box. It doesn't happen that often that I really like a box that the tarot set comes in, but I love the eye, I love the illumination, I love all the colour spectrum bursting out. So if you don't know, the Lights Vision Tarot is from a Kickstarter project, which means it's tarot for people, backed by people. And I couldn't afford to back it, I was at the time either, because I just have, for things like tarot, I'm the one buying it, so I only have it when sales are good and whatever. And usually, sometimes I get treated, but generally speaking it's when I have the funds for it. And I scraped all my pennies together for this, because I was like, I need it, I can't miss out a second time, because I was still sad that I missed out on the Lights Vision, although now I think it kind of was meant to be, because I think I actually do prefer the colour. So that's the box, and the box opens like this, which I adore. Ready? Hello! Oh, oh look! Oh my goodness. Right, I don't know if you can read it. Can we zoom in without it? There we go. The fool believes he is someone he is not, wading through waters for something unsought. The magician plays tricks in the dark of the night, refracting the light of all future sight. A set of cards to tease your mind, revealing a past, present, future combined. James Eads. The Prisma Vision Tarot, first edition. Oh. Okay. And there's a little booklet. There's not going to be a whole heck of a lot of information in the booklet, and the cards are loose. Okay, good. So let's have a quick peruse of the book together. I'm a big fan of eye symbolism, particularly right now. Oh gosh, I've forgotten what it's called. Oh goodness, I'll look it up, 1 second. Yeah, there's been a lot of Hand of Hamster issuing, the pictures everywhere, and but not this week. A couple of weeks ago though, it was everywhere, and it was just following me around. It's often a symbol of protection as well as spiritual awakening, and it's from the Middle East and North Africa, and so on and so forth. protection from the envious or evil eye. So there you go. And I've always enjoyed drawing eyes and things like that, and I love the Elizabeth quote about windows into men's souls, and the eye is a window. Okay, so in the little booklet, it's very little font, but that doesn't bother me, and you've got a few little examples of spreads. That's not too unusual. Okay, so we'll read the Fool together. We're not going to read the whole book because we're going to go through the whole deck. Because I'm super excited. Okay, the Fool. A pelican is perched upon an ocean post, illuminated by a waning crescent moon. He piercingly regards a sodden lone wolf cast among the waves, paddling through unfamiliar territory. Hoping for an easy dinner, he has foolishly swum out beyond the cautious trappings of the solid world. Gazing up at the sturk pelican, the wolf realizes he has departed on a journey that could easily result in his own demise. The Fool represents a new beginning, striking out naively on a bold new adventure. You may be filled with unlimited optimism, a feeling in your heart that you cannot fail. This may prove misguided, and in due time you may find your idealism tempered by painful experience. So approach with caution. Decide whether taking this risk is worth making yourself vulnerable in an unfamiliar setting. If the answer is yes, show no fear. Only those who choose the journey will ever discover new horizons. Okay, and then it goes on and on. So you don't get a huge amount of information, but the information that you do get is beautiful. There's a poetic discussion of the imagery, and then a fitting analysis of the card into a divinational reading. I definitely think just so you can see the eye shot on the back. I definitely think this is one of the tarot sets that will truly benefit from delving into it, experience, reading around. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm holding these cards and everyone on the video is like, what? Right, can you see how the silver shine? Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Oh. I love them. Right, okay. The minor arcana in the four suits actually make a story as you put them all together. There's like an overarching image. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that on camera. I'll try, but if you haven't seen the overarching images, you can see them on the website for the Prisma Visions Tarot. So let's start as we mean to go on. I'm super excited. Okay, so we've had the meanings for the Fool. You can see the wolf here in the water and the pelican. So James Eads takes a... Sorry, that sounds like the crows are in the roof again. He's inspired by Van Gogh, I believe. Make sure I'm saying the right one because my brain is... Yeah. He's inspired by Van Gogh, and that is present in the movement and the almost brush strokes within the art. Okay, my brain, goodness, this is not easy to do when you're recovering. So you can see the movement within the water, and then the movement within the clouds, and then how it actually looks like a starry sky with all the tiny little detailing of the star. Oh, I love the colour palette as well. So the major arcana has quite a night theme from what I can tell, so we will move through though, because otherwise we'll be here all day. Oh, I love that. So this is the Magician, and the magician has a silhouette against the moon, so the moon is the overarching image, but then he has stars within him. He has that limitless possibility within him. He is a journey within himself, and it's the power and will. I'm actually going to see what it says about this. Manipulates a giant. A giant of a man stands and manipulates a figure between his fingers. His translucent silhouette, an enormous moon ruling the background, suggests the realm of the inner landscape, but his uncompromising presence dispels the mystery and replaces it with sheer force of will. He has mastered the subconscious as a result of the material world around him. I love the bare tree imagery here as well, because for me trees are really present and prominent within my practice. So for me, bare branches of trees, it's a little bit hinting at the idea of between worlds, that dead trees aren't actually dead, they give the impression of being dead in the winter, and then they come back into bloom in spring. So it's almost a magic of its own, and through sheer force of will they are reborn, is I guess what I'm going for. And then there's the High Priestess. Pomegranates, very nice. A lot of otherworld imagery. That one hinting, of course, at Greek otherworld mythology. And walking on the water and the moon. And again, she has the... She's nudie. She has a bare bottom. Bare bottoms. And again, we have the tree, but the tree is within the moon this time, which is interesting. Most of this picture is water and the reflections. So we have a real subconscious sort of reflection of what's there, as in perception, and water being the realm to the psyche, and water being linked to our emotions as well. But for the Celtic perspective, it's also linked to the spirit. So it really interlinks with otherworldness and the realm of the inner being, the soul, for me. I'm gonna read you a line from the book because I really like this. Her footsteps ripple the water in the light of the waning moon, which calls for the quiet retreat of imagination and inner reflection. Okay, so then we have the Empress, and we get a bit more colour going now. And a lot of movement. It immediately makes me think of butterflies. Although the raw energy of the natural world... Oh, it's talking of the wind. Her senses take her, and she is nothing but the buffeting wind and the rustling whispering of the wheat. She is Gaia, Mother Earth, Queen of Fertility. Crowned by stars, she pervades the abundance of life and creation. So when you actually look at her clothing, I'm going to see how far we can get in. No, we can't get that in. There. Right, it's actually leaves, but from a distance it actually looks quite a bit like butterflies, like from back here where I am, or moths. And that movement, that air is so present. You can see how it swirls around where her arms are and around her feet. Oh goodness, vortexing and goodness. Well, there's going to be a lot of people who really like the Emperor. There you go. So there's been quite a lot of horned god imagery or ram imagery connected to the Celtic god Cernunnos, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So it's really interesting how there's a lot of movement in this card and yet it's quite rigid. And also, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see, there is skull here, skull here, skull here, skull here. So there's the 4, and obviously that is the 4th card. Are there things with 3 in the hang on, I'm gonna, now I have to look at this deck. This deck's got me going now. It's like, hang on, I just got to check whether there are 3 in the things in the other. Well, there are 6 stars, so 3 and 3. But no, it doesn't. I mean, there were 2 pomegranates. No, there are 3 pomegranates in the second card. That's kind of a shame. I was excited then. I was going to see if there was certain numerical things. Maybe there are, and I'm missing them. Okay, anyway. And there's this image, this straight sort of staff down the centre. It doesn't say what the staff actually means, so I'm going to have to see if I can find that online. But by presenting the image of the masculine in terms of a skull, it's very interesting in how that makes it very rigid, which the structure of the emperor usually is, you know, quite rigid, quite lawful. And death is obviously the ultimate law that none can escape. So skulls really sort of tap into that rigidity. It's going to happen at some point. And also skull and bone being what makes us underneath, and it's quite an unyielding for the most part, particularly in the case of the skull. It doesn't yield unless it's broken. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, this deck. This deck! Okay, so we have the Hierophant. It's interesting. I wonder if that's the constellation of Taurus. Stands among the stars, holding in his hand a sign of benediction. He stands for enduring tradition, the cultures and beliefs that have hewn history into shape. He invites us to conform. So I'm not sure if it is the constellation for Taurus in there at all. I couldn't tell you off by hand, but there's definitely a bull energy. He has a key on his arm here, which is nice. I enjoy key imagery a lot. So there you go. I freaking adore the Lovers. And you'll see why in a second. Right. Okay, so this is the Lovers, and they have crow masks on. Can you see? Can you see the crow masks? Ooh. And yeah. There's something quite crow-like about the whole thing. I mean, if you look at her legs are quite crow-like. Oh no, that's him. That's him, his legs, sorry. And you can't see her legs. Her legs are pure motion in the dress. Or they could also be her legs. So it's sort of like a combining of the two energies into an optic illusion, which is awesome. The joyful dance, self-expression. So yeah, I love the idea of the lights outside. There are almost pools of light around the feet and things, reflecting the dance and the movement of the motion. The Chariot is very different. I don't know how I feel about the Chariot. Mainly because I really enjoy horse imagery within the Chariot usually, so the complete lack of it is a bit odd for me. It's a very strong image within itself. I mean, you can visualise it quite strongly just as an idea and just reading. The Chariot roars down the road, headlights blazing, even in the midst of a heavy night downpour. The bird leaps into flight off its hood, jubilant in its path to victory. The two make an impressive pair, power and swiftness, whooshing unabashedly into the future. And you can imagine that as in a visual mental state quite easily. But yeah, I'm not sure. And strength is not my favourite within this deck, I have to say. So there you go. I think it's meant to be a pride of lions loped before a massive figure. Their maws distended in ferocious roar. Though the savannah is treacherous, this individual has nothing to fear. It actually makes me think of dandelions. As in, she's in a field of dandelions and it's got a sort of Alice in Wonderland style. The flowers are alive and bring forth the energies of the creature that they're named for, you know. I wonder if that actually ties in. Let's have a look. You have to bear with me. I mean, it can relate to strength in terms of it being so deep rooted. The roots stay alive during the winter underground and are reborn. Although a lot of the imagery is actually connected to wishing, of course. But I was more interested in the sort of the yellow flower. Okay, dandelion belongs to Hecate and is mainly a chthonic plant associated with the underworld and necromancy. It is beloved by bees, goats, pigs and considered a toad plant. Very mercurial weed associated with the air element, explaining its use in communicating with the dead and psychic ability. And that's Sarah and Lawless. So, does it work from a strength perspective? I guess it could speak to the strength required for our otherworld journeys. So there you go. There we go. Right, the Hermit is probably my favourite in the whole of the major arcana. Probably. Oh, look at that. Look how beautiful. The play of the light over the water, the lone figure at the centre of the bridge with the moon behind them and the trees and the forest around. Oh, perfection. 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 Although I do very much like the Wheel of Fortune as well because it has Ouroboros in. Ouroboros! Ouroboros! Oh, I'm a freak about Ouroboros. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's a peacock and a serpent locked in combat. Fortune favours the bold. Okay, so both are quite dominant creatures. And peacocks within imagery are probably more associated with sort of pride and vanity, whereas snakes are probably considered to be more about transformational energies, and they both have this energy of being judged on the surface and as one thing, as positive or negative, and then having positive or negative traits in the opposition. So peacocks are considered to be quite beautiful and nice to look at and things, but then the attributes of them are sometimes quite negative, whereas snakes are given to be quite negative in popular consciousness, but the attributes and magic of them is quite in-depth and spiritual and transformational. So it could be like the way we look at things and things changing and the shift of perspective and all that good stuff to do with the Wheel of Fortune. So I like very much. More snakes with justice. Look at that. The snake has bit the hand and the venom is there, and yet the hand has cut the snake. He pays dearly for his moment of violent triumph. The sharper the bite, the sharper the sword. Oh my goodness. I love that. The sharper the bite, the sharper the sword. Wow. And Hanged Man is quite dark. Drown Man with piranhas, see-through piranhas. Unperturbed or unaware of the danger, the man gazes motionless above the water to the stars. He exudes the serenity of a martyr in his final moments. The bones of the man and the fish are clearly visible, allowing a transparency of the surface, allowing us to see the mechanisms beneath. Wow. Okay, and then death, which I like. I'm a freak for death cards. I've said this before. Quite frequently, the death card is one of the first cards I go to and have a look at because it's one of my favourite cards within the tarot deck. I love the energy of it. I'm a weirdo. So this, oddly enough, this reminds me of Beauty and the Beast. Where is the stained glass window with the rose? With the old crone? Yep, okay. Oh, goodness. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of explanation in the book, but every rose must bloom and then wither. And the skeletal hand of death, and the bloom of a rose is quite universally accepted as being very, very beautiful and fragrant and full of life, and when they're red, it's quite blossoming and blood-like. In the case of being quite white, with the hint of the colour walking through, it's the idea of life in its entirety. So white is quite often associated with life as well as death, so it has the sort of duality of life and death within the colour of the rose itself. And the colour within the rose that is not white is starting to ebb and flow away and become part of the world around it, the water and the sky. So it's sort of the passing of energy from the rose into the universe, going back in, like the ascension of the soul, becoming part of the world around it. The hand motion is very much about to move around the rose, about to take it and encircle it and capture it. But it also has an idea of motion and dance within it, isn't it? Like the dance of death, the dance of the macabre, and that energy. And it has a beauty all of its own, I guess, is what we're going for. There you go, that's my interpretation of the card first hand. Right, Temperance. Oh, look. Oh, gosh, it's... A gush of water surges up from the ocean, propelling a figure high above the waves. Pretty. Rushing over his body, twin streams diverge and splash into his upheld cups, and in the midst of the deluge he is balanced, at peace, and unencumbered. That one's going to take a while, I think, to get my head round, but we shall endeavour. The Devil's interesting. Right, my favourite season is autumn, so this is interesting. How is autumn? The serpent beckons from the forest floor, beckoning you onwards. Against your better judgment, you follow the dense thicket, so enamoured with the snake, you fail to notice the path he leads you down is a dead end. You're being taken in, and you will be lost irrevocably to the bleak and silent forest. Autumn's not bleak. I can see it as, being a one-way street to winter, but I guess I can get behind the fact that you can't see through the trees, but I like the tower. There's a house that sits on a cliff in the bay, and 100 years it hasn't aged a day. The slow erosion of the world beneath it, and it's about to tumble into the ocean beneath. That works. It works. Oh, look at the star. Isn't that pretty? A woman is cast in the air. Wow, yeah, there she is. Right. There's a woman. She sees the whole world around her, stars singing their high, clear aria. The sleigh bell descant fills her with hope. In the midst of the stark calamity, she is at peace. Lily tendrils entwine around her, linking her to a brilliant light. That's amazing. That's amazing. It's beautiful. I like the next one as well. I like the moon very much with the wolves. Very optical illusioning again. You could almost phase out and see something else within the, almost like a keyhole, which is nice when you sort of phase out a bit. Yeah, beautiful. And then the sun. The sun is very different, surreal. Isn't that beautiful? Surreal there. Oozes with life. The great creator, the sun, is the impetuous for all things to grow upwards and exult in the sheer bliss of living. Open your heart and absorb its hale, hearty power. That is very different. Okay. And then judgment. I love that. Vortex behind the door. Overabundant rainbow vortex seeping in from the other world offers you a change of pace. The swirling mist beckons you in. Of course, crossing the threshold into the unknown will be daunting. The end of a journey can always be sad. Oh, I love it. There's something storytelling about that that's just beautiful. And then the world, with the eye in the middle. Which contains energies from all of them. Yeah. Depicts the moon, the sun, the hanged man, the hierophant, the emperor, justice, strength, and the chariot rotating around the calm, focus center of the eye. And then strawberries, which is the oddity within the actual Prisma Tarot itself. Life bursts force. Many readers will opt to take the strawberries out of their deck as it's not part of the original arcana. The choice is yours. It's neat. Right, I do want to say that the border is not present in the minor arcana, which is very interesting. It separates the cards particularly. So, look. Oh. Right, we're going to zoom out and then no, it's not going to work. Right, if you want to see the overarching pattern of the cards, go to the actual website because you can see that it makes a picture. But I will attempt to show you how they line up. We can do the first three. There you go. See how they make an art form. I love it. It's so different and unusual. So we'll do it like that. We'll do them in threes. And you see how the pattern colour starts to change. So in the very first the Ace of Chalices, that's very, very watery, and it moves into a slightly different colour palette as it moves along. And the colour palette sort of expresses the feeling and meaning of each card. So by the time you get to 6, which is a little bit more about childlike abundance and joy, it's more colourful. Flowers present. Okay. Okay. 8. Oh goodness, look at 8. Wow. Look at 9. Oh my goodness. It's almost as if it's moving through the colour palette of a day as well. So we're now moving into the twilight dusk part, which is probably why I like it so much. Dusk is my favourite part of day. So look at that. Yeah, sunset. And then as we move into the knights and the queens and the kings, we're moving into nighttime with the stars. Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. I'm going to be... Look at that. Look at those. They're amazing. I love nighttime and star imagery and things, and this is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Right. We're going to move into the pentacles now. And one of the things I really liked about this deck is that I really liked the Ace of Pentacles. Very secret garden. And I have trouble sometimes with pentacles. I think that they suffer in terms of artwork. This is a lot more rigid with the walls, and I suppose that, you know, pentacles would be. But there you go. I'm much more of a fan of artwork with less people and more deep symbolism in, but it does have a medieval feel which I can get behind. Perhaps with the stained glass elements and the almost art style that's almost medieval in its representation of people. I love the tree work, the lines and the energy through the tree. I think that's gorgeous. I like the silhouette as well in the background. I like the unicorn. I like the inclusion of the strawberries. Here we go. Again, these two have a more nighttime feel. Not quite night, but magic within. Okay. And then we have the Ace of Swords. This is much more wintry. Each one almost has a seasonal feel as well, actually. So I'm guessing that water would be spring. Now I'm guessing pentacles would be autumn, maybe, or would it be summer? I'm going to guess summer, because I just had a quick nudge at the ones, and I'm guessing they're more autumnal. So these are definitely winter. Beautiful, beautiful motion, but then the foreground is quite rigid. Oh, look at that. Emotion and all the stars and all the winteriness. Oh, it's gorgeous. More crow masks. And I believe it's swan. Yeah, it's the this is a bit odd. One very angry swan or bird. Okay. Ooh, butterflies, nice. Oh, more angry swans. Air elements. Obviously. It's nice how the elements work through. I like the butterflies and things as well. Very nice. Right, so Wands. I believe Wands is quite autumnal. Just because it seems a bit darker than the energy of the Pentacles. The Pentacles has a lot of flowers in bloom and fruits in bloom. Right, so, oh goodness, look at that. Now this is meant to be a staff, but I actually think it looks like a person. So there you go. I think Wands is going to be my favourite, which it often is. I really do love Wands as a... Oh goodness, look at that. It does feel a little bit more autumnal with it being more night-timey though. To me. And we will see how the Queen of Wands speaks to me, because the Queen of Wands is the card that I attribute to being me within the deck when I'm having a reading. Oh goodness. Sunsetty as well, so I definitely think this is more autumnal. Oh goodness. I love it! Love it, I love it, I love it! This is all Amy Webster's fault, by the way. She reminded me it was available. Oh goodness. Okay, I love it. I love the Queen. Yay! Look at the King though. Wow. The movement, the energy, the fire within the energy is infatuating. It's just amazing. Okay, I'm in love. So that is all of the cards. The booklet is small and concise, but the imagery works really, really well, and it's a really great explanation of the energy behind the card, which is nice, and it gives you a really great jumping off point from I am over the moon to have this. I'm one of these. I'm not a collector, and it's kind of funny because I reviewed another oracle deck and I've got another one to review, but then this came and I was like, everything else on hold. But for tarot, there are very few decks that really, really, really speak to me. I tried with the Ghost Tarot and I'm not getting on with it. I still adore the Marielle and I adore Wild Unknown. But I think, whoop, that's me kicking the camera, excuse me. This is going to be amazing because it has layers on layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of meat to get your teeth into, to see different things each time you look at the cards, to find different meanings as you really start to delve. It's more of a journey, and I love that. I love all the intricate little details adding up to one combined energy. That's what I'm all about, and I friggin' adore this. I friggin' adore it. I can't wait to work with it. So I'm super excited. So there you go. That I'm going to go do that now because I can't wait anymore. So this is the Prisma Visions Tarot, worth every penny. It's amazing. Many blessings.